Hey, what's up? Welcome back to My Endurance Life. Thanks for tuning in. Got an awesome video planned or that you're going to watch. This is Dave Paulson. He is a blue collar, everyday guy, a dad, a father, a husband, and a run streaker. When we recorded this video, he's ran every day for over 400 days. And since then, he's gone on to run over 500 days and complete the San Diego 100, which we're going to talk a lot about in this video. Took me a while to get this video out, but I think it is just timeless in the stuff that he is going to explain as he goes through it, how he refound himself through ultra running, and just a really inspiring story that I think could touch and speak to us all individually as we go through our trail and ultra running journey. If you're new here, like I said, this is an inside look behind the scenes for our team coaching athletes. I bring in guest speakers, people like Dave, who are real life ultra runners, just like you and me. They have a job, they have a family, they have a career, but they have a passion too. And then also, I bring in other people like nutritionists or physical therapists or legends of sports. Like we've had Dean Karnassus on, Mike Browning, Taylor Spike, and they come in and just share insights to trail and ultra running, just the stuff that they've learned through their experience through decades of ultra running. But with that being said, I think that you are going to learn a lot from Dave and just what it takes to be consistent and why we all have a reason for running. So sit back, enjoy this. I did. I know our athletes did who got to tune in, and stick around for the Q&A because it really gets personal and we'll answer a lot of questions that a lot of people have about what it's like to run ultras. So thanks again for watching, and I'm going to stop talking now and enjoy the recording. All right. Well, we're going to start. And so tonight I invited Dave Paulson on. He is a local runner near Zach and I. And we found each other on Instagram or Facebook a couple of years ago. And it turns out we have a mutual friend. And just have, like, over the past couple of years, been trying to hook up to run together and just never have yet. But we're all over each other's Strava and Instagram and like cheering each other on. But Dave started a run streak over a year ago, and to date he's ran 400. Have you ran today yet?
I'm gonna run after this.
So today he's run 446 days straight, and not just like little measly runs, like just a mile to get a mile and to keep the streak going, but he's actually putting in like tons of miles, like 5, 10 miles, 20 miles, just randomly, like on a Friday that he'll run an ultra just to run an ultra. He's ran from the Seal Beach Pier all the way to the San Clemente Pier, and has mixed in some races, but he's doing all this by juggling a full-time job. He's got 3 kids, all with 3 different schedules. He's married and has been just killing it, and it's been super fun to watch. And recently he just signed up for the San Diego 100, so that's on June 6th. So I asked Dave to come in here and just share like kind of like his ultra running or running just background, like because that's all going to lead into the streak, why the streak started, and just any ups and downs along the way, how he's been consistent, and stuff that he's learned, just through 446 days of running. And I kind of like snooped on his Strava. So to date, he's obviously averaging 7 runs a week. Averaging 40 or 50 miles plus a week, and he's ran 979 miles so far this year with 98,000 feet of climbing. So these aren't just like little flat road runs. He's actually like putting in a lot of work. So with that, Dave, show's yours.
Well, thanks, man. I was like, wow, who's this guy? But yeah, so I started basically, I'll kind of go back in time a little bit. So growing up, my dad was a runner, right? So when I was a little kid, every day, my dad would come home from work, he'd walk in the door, put on his running gear, and he was out the door every day. And he was like the original local legend back before Strava in Mission Viejo. He would run 5 miles one day, the next day he would run 10, and he would run 6 days a week. And like the guy never missed a day ever. And like I remember like, Dad, do you ever bring water? And he's like, nope, back then they just drank out of sprinklers, hoses. He's like, old school guy. And I can remember a time when he came home with blood dripping down his face, and he's like, he slipped and cracked his head open, but he didn't want to mess up his mileage. So he finished his run. So like I kind of grew up with a dad that set that example. And I was never a runner, growing up. I think like I was a little kid, I ran like one 5K and I was like, yeah, this is not for me. And as I got older, my dad's actually still running. He's 82 years old. He's been running over 40 years. He's logged, I think last time he told me it was like 55,000 miles.
Wow.
So he's still not using a GPS watch. He's still just used his car to map out his routes. And he's still getting, I mean, he's running 16-minute miles now, but he's still out there just getting after it. And, all those people that told him he was going to need knee surgery and all that stuff that we all hear as runners, he's never had any of those issues. He's super healthy. Like, so he's been kind of my mentor. Like, I didn't know it back then, but as I gotten older, I've like, that's kind of been my mentor to start running. So, to go back like 2014, I had two young kids. I worked for a water company and I was just, not as active as I was growing up. Like you guys, I surfed, I skateboarded, I did all the SoCal stuff. I was always active growing up, but you know, in 2014, I was, you know, early 30s and starting to put on a little weight and I'm like, I want to try to start running. So, I went out, ran a couple miles here and there, and was really struggling with it. I kind of did it off and on, and you know, um, the end of 2014, I ended up moving from Santa Margarita to Mission Viejo, and like, man, there's all these cool trails like Ladera Ranch, all these areas, and I'd go hiking. I'm like, I gotta like start running again. So I tried to go for these little runs. I said, you know what? I'm going to sign up for like a 5K. Signed up, trained, went and did that. And that was like it was a big deal to me. Like when someone tells me they ran, oh, I just ran a 5K. To me, I'm like, hey, that's awesome. That's
Mm.
amazing. It's a big deal. So that was a big deal to me. Then I went and did a 10K and I kind of had this progression where I'm like, my dad did marathons, like I'm going to go do a half marathon. So I signed up for this half marathon in Irvine. I think it's a Southern California half marathon or something goes around Irvine. And of course, I didn't buy the insurance for the race and I got the flu, right? So I'm sitting at home with the flu and I'm like, oh my God, I spent 100 and something dollars on this race. I shouldn't have spent. Now I can't even run it. I'm sick. So while I'm laying there in bed, I flipping through the channels and there's this show on like PBS and it's like from fat to finished, it's like these about documentary about these people that they just pulled, right? Like an ex high school athlete, somebody that smoked, all these different things, and they're going to train them to run the Boston Marathon in 6 months. It's actually pretty cool if you want to check it out. So I sat there and watched it, and I'm like, man, maybe this is a sign. Maybe I'm going to sign up for a marathon. So while I was homesick, I just said, screw it, I'm going to sign up for Orange County Marathon. So I signed up, and at this point, the farthest I ran was like 6 miles. Of course, my family's like, you're crazy. And I got some advice from my dad, started training, and I went and did that. And gosh, like the beginning of 2015 sometime. So I went and did that, and I was like, I had a rough time. I didn't really know that much about fueling and stuff. So like mile 18, I'm just like, that hit that wall and I was like, I'm never doing that again, right? Like I did okay, but I'm like, I'm done. I don't ever want to do that again. A few months later, I'm on, I find Ultra sign up. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll do a 50K, right? So I kind of had this progression where I ended up down in San Diego at the Lake Hodges 50K. I'm sure you guys might have seen that one. It was like a flatter 50K. And I go down there with another friend that I met locally. And while I was down there, I met another guy running, and he's like, "Oh, I live right by you in Mission Viejo." So me and him, like after we ran, we kind of hooked up and became friends. This guy Cody, and he was, like 8 years younger than me, and he's like trying to do these ultras, and kind of got me into it. And then I just got really into it where I started figuring things out and running with some guys that knew more about the sport. And they were kind of coaching me and teaching me. And it seemed like it was just really blowing up that year. And I went and did some 50 milers. And then in 2016, I did the San Diego 100. It was an experience like your experience you had, Eric, at the Machete 100K, like when it was all this cool weather and then you go out there and it's like 90 degrees.
Mhm.
That's like what I had. So I didn't have a good race. I finished, which was my goal, but I was like one of the last guys crawling across that finish line. And I was like, I'm done, right? So after that, I kind of just like the weirdest thing, like I go into work and I remember guys telling me like, oh, dude, 18, by the time I got to work, like all these guys have already like dug into what I did. And they're saying things like, oh man, 18.5 minute pace. Like I can walk that, all that kind of crap. And it really bothered me. And I was already like, I didn't have the race I wanted. And I kind of just got into like this depression after that race where I was like, I don't want to be Dave, the ultra runner guy. I just want to be like regular Dave that goes out and runs 3 miles after work. Like I'm over it, right? And I tried to snap out of it, did a couple runs, but I found myself walking a lot, really not motivated. And I kind of just stayed in that funk for like a couple years. I want to say till like 2018, I was doing 3 5 mile runs and I was just like, I was like burnt out, like almost like I hit that pinnacle for myself. Now what? I'm just didn't like it anymore. So eventually I kind of just like end of 2018, I just fell off and my diet went to crap. I was like, you know, drinking beer a lot and just like, I don't know. I just like I knew during that time, like I knew something was missing from my life. Like I missed it. And it was the weirdest thing. Like my friends might pop up on Instagram, like on a run, or like a memory would pop up on Facebook of like me and my friends all like fit running. And like I didn't even want to see it. I just like wanted to scroll over it. Like I even like took all my medals and all my stuff and like they're actually up here in my garage. I threw them up here. I'm like, man, I don't even want to see this stuff. Like I was like, I don't know, just bummed and ashamed, but at the same time, like felt like now that I took that break, I could never go back, right? So kind of fast forward a little bit. So I didn't run all through COVID and all that. And in 2023, my family, we took a trip to Hawaii. And while we were there, I'm just like, man, who am I? Like, I don't recognize myself. Like I had gained like, I was like 205 pounds, where I was always like a guy that was like 175 pounds. I just didn't feel good. I wasn't happy with like what I saw. And, like I had gone to the doctor and like, hey, dude, there's some check engine lights on, like you gotta like get your diet under control. I was eating, how like working in construction type industry, like I'm working a lot of late hours. I was eating junk. I was drinking. I was a mess. So I kept telling myself, I want to make a change. And I did that typical thing where it's like, oh, I'll wait till New Year's. I'll wait till my birthday. And I remember I was like flipping through Instagram, like laying in bed, and I was like, man, I just didn't feel right. I was having panic attacks. I just was not feeling good. And I remember like reading this thing, and it's like, well, parents will do anything for their kids, right? Like people are like, I'll die for my kid. I'll fight for my kid. Don't mess with my kids. And then I'm reading through it, and it's like, but will you get healthy for your kid? And I'm like, man, I'm like the perfect example. Like, look at me. I'm not setting a good example for my kids. I'm like, I'm done. Like, tomorrow, I'm done. And I had said this to myself before, but this was like, this time I meant it. And I woke up, it was like July 29th, 2023. I just said, I'm done. I'm like, I'm not drinking beer. I'm not eating fast food. I am done. And I remember going to work and I was just feeling horrible. Like, I wasn't like a full on alcoholic or I guess probably, yeah, it was. I was drinking beer every night. And I was just like at work and I was just anxious and I was just like feeling like crap. I was going for walks at work, and I remember coming home those first few days, and like I associated coming home, hanging in my garage. Like I work on vintage bikes, I have an old truck, and I would always do that stuff, and I'd, drink a beer or whatever. So I'd come home, and I just like I wanted to go back to that, and I fought it, and the way I fought it was like I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm gonna go. I have like beach cruisers. I'm like getting on beach cruisers riding around the neighborhood. I'm like, I gotta break this thing. And I slowly started fighting through that. And after a few hard weeks, I started pulling my running shoes out from under the bed. My Hokas, where are they? I got them up there. I'll have to show them to you guys. My old ones from San Diego 100. They're like Hoka ATR Challenger 2s or something. I pulled those things out and I threw them on and I started going for like little walks, tried to run a little. And if I saw somebody, I knew I'd walk and they'd be like, dude, are you running again? I'm like, no, 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 I'm just going for a walk. And, I was just really struggling and I slowly just kind of kept chipping away at it and I started feeling better. And before you know it, I had worked myself up back to a few miles and now kind of like that, craving for alcohol and stuff was like going away. Like the junk food was kind of getting out of my system and I had lost like 12 pounds. So I'm like, okay, I'm feeling better. Like the anxiety is kind of leaving. And I slowly started just getting back in that groove. And I started like listening to all my old running audio books and started getting motivated. I'm like, you know what? Like I can get back on this thing because my mind, I still had that ultra mind where I would go for a run and my body was like, bro, we're tired. Like this is as far as you're going 2 miles, we're walking home. But my mind was like, let's go. So I slowly just started working back up over that year. And by the beginning of 2024, I was like, starting to throw down a couple 10 milers. And I was like, man, I'm really bouncing back. So I, just slowly started that progression, building up the miles. And fast forward to, the beginning of 2024, I had gone out and done, I linked back up with my buddy Cody, who I met down at Lake Hodges. And he kind of went through something similar and kind of fell off and got back in. And he's like, I'm training for an ultra again. I like ran into him on the trail and he had messaged me like several times, like, hey, dude, let's get on the trail. And I kept blowing him off or making excuses because I was like, oh man, I don't want to go run with this guy. He's going to run circles around me. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to keep up. I was kind of like embarrassed for what I was to what I am now. Eventually, I got out there with him and he talked me into going to do like a 50K. So we did like a self-supported 50K. He was training for a race. And once I did that, like it really, like my motivation went like way up. So I'm like, well, PCT 50 was my original first 50 miler in 2015. So I said, I'm gonna sign up for it. I tried to find anything other than an out and back, like we were kind of chatting about before the show. But that was the only one. So I'm like, well, screw it. I kept watching it. And it's like, there's 20 more spots left. There's 15 more spots. There's 4 spots. And I'm like, oh, signed up. Drove down there by myself. No family, no friends, just drove down there at 4 in the morning. I was like so nervous, and I went and did it. And, my fueling was off. I was just like dying on the way back. I probably walked 8 miles and I ended up getting it done. And once I got it done, it's like, I kind of had a feeling I never want to do it again, but at the same time, I felt like, hey, I kind of conquered that fear and I came back and I did something that like my anxiety and my mind was telling me I could never do again. So I'm like, man, I'm back. Like I want to keep doing this. So how that kind of led into the streak was, I want to say that was kind of right before I started training for PCT 50 like in April of 2024, I believe. February, April, I can't remember. I have to go back and look at Strava. So the streak, I kind of just was running 4 or 5 days a week. And I said, man, I got to get more miles in if I'm going to try to run uh, a race like this. And like Erica mentioned, I have 3 kids, like they're all in different sports at the time. They're all over. I'm like, how am I going to do this? So I'm like, well, I'll just run every day. I'll try it for like 1 week. And I did it for a week. And I did it for a second week. I'm, man, I made it 2 weeks. Maybe I can make it a month and then I'll stop, right? I have this ADHD, so I like made it to a month and then I just kept going and I just kept going. And like, then I was like, well, I ran 50 miles. I just want to keep running 50 miles. So I pretty much just somehow tricked my mind into it. I never had a plan. I never like thought this is something I'm going to do. I'd seen other people with these like, like these Andy Glaze and these guys online with these awesome streaks where they're running and doing all this. And I just kind of fell into it and haven't stopped. And the way I've been kind of keeping it alive is I've just tried to work running into my daily schedule. Like if Saturday rolls around and we have a soccer game and it's in Irvine, and I'm like, man, well, I need to get a long run. What time's the game? It's at 10. I'll get up at 5 in the morning and run there, or I'll go to soccer practice and all the parents are sitting there on their phones. I'm just like, I'll go get my run in, or I'll come home late and get my run in. And now the family's kind of adapted to the schedule and we have things kind of worked out where my whole family just like supports me because they know like this has definitely changed me. And I think I'm much better husband and dad now that I've like started doing this. So they've just encouraged me. They're like, Dad, go get your run. And they just know it's something that's just become a part of my life. So like I said, um, 446 days or something like that. But I never planned on like, going this long. I thought for sure I'd get sick or I'd get injured. I think once I slipped and pulled something behind my knee, but that's it. Like I had a lot of people tell me I'm going to get sick and I'm going to get injured, and I was expecting that to happen. But like literally everyone at my house has gotten sick. My wife's gotten COVID, all these things. And somehow, knock on wood, it's it's kind of skipped me. So for me, it's worked out. It keeps me out of trouble. And yeah, that's kind of how the streak thing came about. And that's kind of just like my background of how I got to where I am. Sorry, I'm just blabbing now.
No, no, that's good. I think like just knowing your story leading up to it just puts everything into context and why it's like so important. And when something's super important like that, it's easy to stay consistent with it. Because if you just said I'm going to go out and just start a run streak, I think that'd be easier to quit than having that past, story attached to it. Knowing like almost like you're running away from it, and if you stop, like it might be knocking on the door.
Yeah. And you know what? When I first started that run streak, and like, I don't know, for people that have dealt with anxiety, it is like the worst. Like, there's been times where, like, my wife used to have anxiety, and I used to, tell her what any husband would have. Hey, just don't think about it. You're good. They're like, no big deal. And then I got anxiety, and it was like, what's wrong with me? Like, I'm dying. I'm having a heart attack. I'm anxious. Or like, I'd be in a meeting and have to go walk away. And it was like the worst feeling ever. And like, it had gotten so bad that when I started running, I was just like, if this is what I got to do to make that stuff go away, I'll never stop. I don't ever want to feel like that anymore. And there were several times where I'd be out on runs and I'm just like, I'm a Christian guy and I'm not the best Christian, but I remember being on these runs where I'm just like, God, like, I don't ever want to feel like that again. Like, give me that strength I need just to stay on this track. And if you do, I'll never go back to being that guy. And so far I've held that promise, and I'm trying to just, keep going down that track because I'm so grateful for not feeling like crap anymore and, getting good sleep. It's like the positive changes in my life since I've like made that switch and, got back to running and, kind of changed who I was surrounding myself with. It's like I remember my dad always saying like, you want to soar with the eagles, you can't run with the turkeys, and I'm like, that's the thing I tell my kids. It's like, you want to be good at something, you hang out with people that are good at what you want to do. If there's five people out doing bad stuff and you go hang out with them, you're going to be the sixth. So like, I want to hang out with people that were positive and, built me up. And that the running community's always been like that, especially the trail running community. So I got to get back in there because I was just looking back at pictures and I'm like, that was like happy Dave. And then this is like the not happy Dave. So that's, it's really been a blessing to me to have had the willpower just to make that switch. And since then it's like, a lot of other family and friends have seen the difference. And, my younger brother started running and my older brother started walking and like I have some friends getting into it. And it's like, so I think it's contagious. I think it's a good thing. Like, I never would have thought I'd been here, a few years ago talking, to a group of people about running and telling them my stories. So
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
yeah, super cool. Um, since we are, a running group, and based, well, a lot of it's just community and mindset and stuff like that, but we do touch on like performance and training and there's just stuff. Is there anything that you would like to share that you've noticed, through the 446 days, or, past and present, like stuff that you've picked up along the way to make running easier?
I think the biggest things that I found to make running easier is I really think I think you should have a goal on your calendar. That always gives you something to work towards and it keeps you accountable. Since I signed up for, PCT or San Diego, like those things just make me go like, hey, I really don't have an excuse today because when I'm out there running that 50 miles, I'm gonna wish I got in that extra 10-mile training run or I didn't skip that hill. So I think having something on your calendar is big, keeps you accountable. I also think, testing your gear, like, you really got to go out and you got to get comfortable. We all hear like, hey, nothing new on race day, but really you got to get things dialed like far before that. You don't want to have an issue with your socks during a race because you decided to do something stupid. So I think really testing your gear and dialing in your nutrition is huge. I know like a lot of people, I know I've seen you like guys will eat the goos and do all these things. Like to me, like I can't do it. Like I'm literally the guy on my long runs. I stop at Subway and I go and grab like a 6-inch turkey sub with like pepper jack and tomato and avocado. And I'll grab a Coke. I normally don't drink soda, but I'm like, hey, when I'm on a long run, that's my treat, right? I stop at Subway, like grab a sandwich, I take a few bites, I stuff it in my pack, and I'm like a little rabbit. I'll just eat that thing my whole run. And people think I'm crazy. Like, man, what are you eating? My friends are all got bars and goos and stuff. Like, I really think like trying to get your nutrition, especially for people that want to go farther. I mean, of course, during a marathon, you're not going to eat a Subway sandwich. But I really think trying to get that nutrition dialed is really huge and not doing too much too soon. It's like it's really easy to go out and to get hurt. And another thing I think is really big is like people shouldn't be afraid to walk, to shut your watch off and like check out the sunset, and like maybe take that break or sit down for a minute or whatever you got to do. Because like I know when I first started, I was so worried about like what's that watch say? What's that pace? Oh, I can't mess this up. And that's really what kind of ruined some of my love for running before. I got so addicted to like the stats and the technology, and I was just like constantly like, chasing times. I think you really, when you're out there, you got to be grateful and you got to just enjoy the fact that you're out running. I think it's something that, a lot of people might not ever have that opportunity to get out and run. So you got to just get out there and be grateful that you're moving and, just set little goals every day, set a little goal. I think that's big.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you said that because it's like it. setting goals is great, but if you set like, if you're brand new to running and you see something on YouTube and you say, oh, I'm gonna go run 100 miles, and then that's your goal, but you've never like, you know, set little achievable goals to build confidence, then it's like if you fail, that 100 miler because didn't create those stepping stones along the way, it's like you'll probably never ever run again, but I think I'm a firm believer in like setting small achievable goals and then just building that confidence. So it's like, oh, maybe I really can do it. And then you go and do it like, oh, maybe I really can do it. And then before long, it's like you're doing like these amazing, amazing things.
Like weight loss, you got to
Mhm.
lose 50 pounds. Don't be like, I got to lose 50 pounds. It's like, hey, let's just try to lose a pound a week.
Mhm.
Let's try to make these small steps. And as long as you're making progress, it's like, hey, well, if I only got to lose a pound a week, well, there's 52 weeks in a year. Hey, I can, stretch this out over a year. That's awesome. But like sometimes people, like you said, they set these big goals and you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. So you got to really set yourself up for success. And I really think it's good to talk to other people and, like for running, talk to people that are veterans of it, get their feedback, and ask lots of questions. But there's so much with like the online stuff and influencer types that, I think a lot of people can discourage others, like with these videos that are like highly edited and stuff. Like the regular guy will see it and be like, I could never do that. But when he sees a regular guy, running down Tribuco Canyon eating a sandwich, he's like, hey, I can do that. That looks cool.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. You guys have any questions for Dave?
I don't have any questions, but I think it's incredible. Just like the background of your story, and it just made me love running more. Like how it can change people's lives. It's incredible. And how do you go on over 400 days without stopping? Like I can't even walk right now after I run 26 miles.
well, yeah, it's like I said, I never planned on doing that. And read a story recently about some guy, I think he ran for I forget how many years, like 40 years or something, 8 miles a day or something. So like there's people out there that have done that. And I always think like, what if you get the flu? My wife's like, what are you gonna do if you get the flu? I'm like, well, I guess I'm
Run.
gonna try to go run 2 miles at least, and just
Hmm.
get it done. But I guess I'll go down that road when I get there. When I get there.
That's incredible.
Yeah, thanks so much for sharing your story. This is really very encouraging and inspirational to hear. My question would be, how much trail time do you get a week? Or is there any rhyme or reason to trail time versus road time?
I I prefer to get on the trail as much as possible, but I I'll just run wherever I can. So
Right.
I'll try to link trails together. Like so, for example, some nights I'll take my kid to soccer, and I gotta go run on trail. So I'm like, well, I'll get in 5 miles well, I got to run on the sidewalk, the road. So I'll go out, and I've grown up here my whole life, so I kind of know
Okay.
where everything is. So what I'll do is I'll try to link things together, where I'll be like, oh, I can go down this street. I can catch this fire road. I can link that around to here, and then I can
Hmm.
link that around to here. So I'll kind of do almost like a hybrid route. Like sometimes, like crappy weather, rain, I'll go out and just strictly run road, sometimes for a couple weeks. But a majority of the time, I want to say like 80% of my runs are on trails. And when I have to run those cities, I just try to link
Hmm.
trails together. Because there's like where we live is like there's so many little bike paths and trails and fire roads, and linking all those together, you can kind of, I actually think it's really good for your workout because you get it, the road's so much more repetitive and you get that higher turnover. I think to be a good trail runner, it's really good to kind of, get in some of those faster paced runs on the road as well. So, but either way,
Okay.
I just love running. So anywhere I
Uh,
have to run, like if I move somewhere it was flat with roads, I guess I'd probably just be a road runner at
yeah,
that point.
I think it's cool that you're just making it work and just figuring it out as you go. I kind of love that.
Yeah, I'm just stoked to get out and run. There's
Hmm.
trust me, there's days I do not want to run, and I'm like, today's the day I'm just done. I don't want to like do a run streak. And I always those days I'll usually just I force myself to go, and usually after that first couple miles, sometimes after that first couple miles you end up having a really good run.
Right.
You know, the days you don't want to go are usually the best days. So
Hmm.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes is, "I never regretted finishing a run I didn't want to do."
exactly,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do
exactly.
you one more question, sorry. Do you do any additional training in addition to the running?
Um, yeah, so what I started doing like a couple years ago is I do like a lot of body weight stuff. Like I don't have like a program or streak or anything, but normally like at work I'll try to do like 200 to 300 push-ups every day, like Monday through Thursday. And
Wow.
then my kids wanted to get some weights, so I have some weights in the backyard, and like twice a week I'll just do like some lightweight high rep. And I'm trying to do like I was starting to do a lot of pull-ups, and then somehow I just must have had horrible form and I got tendonitis in both my arms. So I've been the joys of getting old. So I've been trying to get those things healed back up and slowly getting back on that, and like some light kettlebell stuff. But I try at like work. Whenever I get a break, I've been trying to do something. I'm like, hey, I'm at work. So if I get a break, like what better way to get stuff knocked out before you get home? Like I'll try to do some body weight, like air squats and things like that. I have a little kettlebell under my desk. Sometimes I throw it in the back of my truck and just, but I probably do like 20 minutes of exercise a day, and that's honestly it, probably 4 or 5 days a week. But with the trail running, I can tell like when I run on the road, I come home and a lot of times like my back will be sore, my feet will be
Right.
sore. On that trail, I think it's with so much vary in like the trail, like as far as like going up hills, going down hills, the trails are off camber, like you're constantly jumping and like moving your body and engaging your core. I think I found it's just like just the trail running alone is a really good, pretty much full body workout. But of course, I got, a teenage son and another son that's going to be a teenager. So I got to try to stay stronger than them as long as I can.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I,
That's so cool. I was just kind of thinking, like, do you ever, with your run streak, I've been trying to get on a run streak, but I almost get afraid of it. Like, I'm going to hurt myself. Like today, I almost turned around and stopped because my left leg but was just bugging me. But I lift a lot too. So when I was lifting this morning, I noticed it. But I just, like you said, those first few miles are sometimes hard, and then you just end up having a good run, whether it's mellow or not. But when you do races and stuff, do you kind of taper back, or do you just kind of do whatever you want up till the race? Or
I plan on it. Like what I did for PCT 50 is like the 2 weeks, but I did like a 2 week taper. I want to say the 2 weeks prior, the longest run I did was like 5 miles. And then the week of the race, I did a couple 3 mile runs and 2 mile runs. For San Diego 100, since I'm going to be going back to do that, um, I do not want to have a single sore muscle when I go. So definitely the week prior, I'm not going to do any weights or push-ups or anything. I'm going to try to stretch a lot, and I'm going to try to like 2 weeks out, maybe just do like maybe a couple 5 milers, 3 milers, and the week of is like 2 miles a day just to stay loose. And but you know me, I'm like, oh, I got to hit that 50 miles every week. But I figure, well, 2 miles and then 100, I'll be good.
yeah.
And I'll keep that streak for 2 days because it's going to take me more than 24 hours. So yeah, that's my
Wow.
my big goal is I want to make sure I go into that like not sore. At PCT 50, when I got to the starting line, it's like, man, my calves are actually pretty tight. Like this is not good.
Yeah.
So I don't want to do that again, like, learned a lot of lessons that day that I had kind of forgot over the prior years. But I know what you're saying, like with like your muscles, like I'll go out and run, when I did PCT 50. So the next day I was so sore. I'm like, well, I gotta go run like 2 miles. And literally my feet felt like I had ankle weights on them. And I
Oh,
was just jogging like that old man down the sidewalk, but I'm like, hey, 17-minute mile or 16-minute mile is still a mile. So I got it
hmm
done. And surprisingly, towards the end of
Yeah.
that, you start you start loosening up. And I did a few weeks ago, I did a 100-mile week, and that was like my pretty much my longest week ever. I think the longest I had done before that was like, back in the day was like 80 miles. So like that was my biggest week. We were on spring break. So I just told myself I'm gonna try to run a half marathon like every day. And surprisingly, like with the streak, I felt pretty good every day. I mean, I had like some stiffness in my calves, but usually after a few miles, it would loosen up and I would feel okay. So far, so far, so good, but I keep telling myself I'm going to start a stretching streak, but I just haven't done that yet. But it's on the list.
I
I think
hate
that would
Those
be
stretching.
never
beautiful.
last.
I don't know if you're on social media, but I'm begging you to make a video of your subway stop. It would
Oh,
be
I
so
will.
funny. That'd
Yeah,
be
I
great.
will.
I just
Yeah, I
sent
think.
someone a video today of a gal who was stretching for her run and eating an ice cream cone while she was doing it. It might have just been made up for social media, but it cracked me up. It's like, oh, so your subway stop would just be great.
Oh yeah, and when I get down there near Eric's house, I've stopped at Bravo Burger down there in
No.
San Juan, and I'm
Yeah.
like, can I get a burrito? And I'm like, just egg, avocado, salt, pepper, potato. And I'm like, can you cut it in half? And I grab half and throw it in my backpack. Everyone in there is looking at me. And I'm like, I have to have like real food. I
I,
can't do it. I mean, I could eat a Cliff Bar, like I'll eat those, but I gotta have that real food. And that's the beauty of being a slower runner. I think my body has time to digest it. I'm not out there running 6-minute miles or something. I'm running 11-minute miles, 10.5-minute miles, so
Mhm.
it works for me, and that's the other thing I think people got to realize is like what works for your buddy might not work for you. And
Right.
you got to get out there and, that's where the training runs come in. You got to just kind of figure out what works for you and,
hmm
don't compare yourself to other people. Like just set your own goals. And, if you're not beating the guy next to you, you're beating your previous time or you're lapping everybody on
Yeah.
the couch, just, you know,
Yeah.
keep moving.
hmm
And he's on Instagram. His handle's Paulson Crew.
I'm gonna follow you. Wait for that video.
Yeah, my account is private. Just send me a
Oh,
request. Just send me a
okay.
request. I accept everybody. I just got had a
Okay.
million scammers before.
Paulson
Yeah,
crew. Okay.
Paulson crew. It's got a dog on the
I see. Yeah.
picture,
Uh-huh.
Julie's in
but
Oregon right now.
Yeah.
I was gonna say she looks like she's got a nice backyard there. Looking awesome. I'm sitting in the
Wow.
the garage.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can
If
see
you
the
saw
reflection. Looks
you saw
nice.
my well, the yard is not, but thank you.
Well, I
I
see blue
tried it.
sky.
The
See
sky is
some.
blue right now. It's beautiful today.
There you go. You got to go do that Cascade Crest 100 up there.
Oh,
Point to
I don't
point.
know. Yeah, I'm way behind the rest of you. So maybe one day.
Small steps, small
Small
achievable
steps.
goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she ran her first trail half marathon last year. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
that's cool. Super cool.
Yeah. Super exciting. And I think I picked another one just today,
Oh,
Eric.
sweet.
oh,
Nice.
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Exciting.
I am excited.
Yeah. So, well, do we have anything else for Dave?
No, just thank you so much. It's a great call.
Yeah. Yeah, I really appreciate it. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I'll be following you on Strava. That inspires
Oh
me.
yeah.
I wake up in the morning sometimes and then I log in. Next thing I see Zach, it's already worked out. I'm like barely getting up at 6 in the morning. I'm like, ah, crap, okay, I have to get out. So people like that motivates me. Just so you know, you motivate me, Zach.
Yeah, sometimes I'll flip on Strava and I'm like, man, did none of my friends work? Like, man, look at these guys just out there
Yeah.
living the dream every day. But like I said, I just try to come home after work, and after this, I'm gonna go probably run 8 miles.
Good.
Yeah.
Can't break the streak. But I got Eric, I gotta get with you and Zach and
Yeah.
go hit some miles. Last year, I know you invited me out on a couple runs, and I felt like a flake. And to be honest, a couple of times I was like, man, I'm not there yet, like I'm just was kind of lagging, and now I'm ready to go. So I'm ready to get out there and go climb up that Majestic grade with you guys.
Yeah. Well, I'm slow too, so
Perfect.
I'm a
I'll bring a
hiker.
sandwich for us.
Yeah, I'm a hiker, that runner.
Yeah, trust me, that's how I am on the hills,
Mm,
just fast hike those hills and eat a
mm,
sandwich. I'm good.
yeah. In the middle of June, Juana, Zach, and my cousin were all doing what's the name of that race?
It's what is it? Just the
Falcon,
Holcomb. Holcomb.
Holcomb, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
so cool.
yeah, 50K up in Big Bear. So
Oh,
So
and it's
awesome.
Juana's gonna crush us with all the time she's been putting down.
yeah,
No,
You know what though?
no.
There's let's see, tomorrow is tomorrow the last day of the month? Or wait, no, Thursday. You guys, that's the last day to sign up for San Diego 100. There's still some
Yeah.
spots.
Not
Yeah, how
yet.
cool would that be? We can
right.
get to know each other. We can get out there on the trail and go get it done.
Yeah, we really get to know each other.
San Diego is beautiful, but not 100.
Yeah, so there you go. You can get out there with me. We'll go suffer through it and get it done, and we'll
I
think
am
about
looking
it.
for a 50 miler, a good 50 miler, flat.
Yeah, trust me. I wasn't planning on signing up for that race, but I kind of felt like back when I did it, I have something more to throw at that race. Like I kind of feel like I kind of want to go back and redeem myself out there. My only goal is to finish, but at the same time, like I looked for every excuse. I honestly was almost going to try to get in it last year. I'm glad I didn't, but I just told myself like, I'm not going to sign up, but I still follow them on social media, and the thing popped up. It's like you have a week left to register. Like, oh man, I ain't going to do that. And then I went out on a run and started thinking about it like maybe I should, run it. And then I ran into another local runner that kind of like me and Eric, like I see him on Strava and stuff, and like never really met him. And I shot him a message. I'm like, what are you training for? And he's like, San Diego 100. I'm like, man, it's like I'm getting all these signs. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna wing it. Let's go. I don't even, to be honest, like I have one friend that's gonna be down there, and he said my buddy Cody said he'll crew me, but like
Nice.
far as that goes, I'm just winging it. My kids will all be at soccer, and I just said, look, Dad's gonna go there. I'm gonna try to get this done. Hopefully, I'll finish sometime Saturday, sleep in my truck for a few hours, and I should be home for soccer on Sunday. You might have to wheel me down to the field, but I'll be there one way or another.
Wow.
That's
That's the
awesome.
plan, at least.
Yeah, yeah, we're excited. We'll be cheering you on.
That's
Definitely.
I'll send you guys a link. Yeah.
If I wasn't planning on beating Zach the following week, and then I'd sign up.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Zach's probably on Ultra sign up right now. I think he's gonna do it.
Right? Dude,
You've
He's
been
on
yeah.
the
training for the
trail.
60.
It's like
Yeah,
Uh,
ready to step in his trail right now. I can
I'm a
see.
trail poser. I do most of my stuff on the road.
No, that's good. That's fine.
I gotta take off, guys. Great talking to
All
you.
right.
You
But
too.
Thanks,
have a
Zach.
great night.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Later,
Night.
Zach.
So,
But
yeah,
well, it was good rapping with all you guys.
yeah,
You
super fun.
too.
So,
You too.
well, we'll be cheering you on. Give Dave a follow, on Strava or Instagram, and yeah,
Absolutely. Good luck on your race. You got this.
All
Yes.
right.
Crush
So
Yeah,
it.
excited for
you.
you.
I'll keep you guys posted if you tune into Instagram. I'm sure I'll
Okay.
be updating it at some point.
All right.
Okay,
Hopefully with a belt buckle saying 100 miles.
Yes.
Nice.
that's
That's the
be
Love it.
plan.
cool.
Cool.